And a one, and a two. You're on, Pat.
Okay. Welcome back to Georgia Peachcast, coming to you from Cherokee County, Georgia. This is Pat.
And this is Gregg.
Before we talk about the ACA, okay, we have a public service information. There was a special election in Georgia House District 23. If you're not sure whether you're in 23, the best thing to do is to go to my voter page and put in your address, and you'll find out where you are in the, again, Georgia State House District 23. House District 23, the election is on December 9th. Early voting is going on right now. If you're, make sure that you're in 23, check your voter page, find out if you are in that district for the Cherokee city residents only. District was gerrymandered for Republicans, so we need everyone eligible to vote. There is a total of 6 candidates running. 5 of them are Republicans and 1 Democrat. Scott Sanders is the Democrat who we are supporting, and since there is that many running for that, they'll take the top 2, and there'll be another special runoff probably in early January, and we'll advise you on after the 9th runoff. We'll know how that stands.
Yeah, and so, as progressives, we really want to make sure we get as many Democrats and independents in office, especially at the lower echelons, so that we can make sure our voices are being heard. So get out there and vote.
With that,
we're going to go to the main topic of our cast for today, and that's we wanted to focus on the politics of healthcare right now, and there's a wonderful podcaster called The Politics Girl, and she had an amazing rant a couple weeks ago that we wanted to hit the highlights of. Highly recommend her if you want to check that person out. Again, it's the Politics Girl podcast. But, the big thing she was going on about was Donald Trump's current plan, quote unquote. It's not even actually a concept of a plan. He wants to go back to the old days. Of course, it's about making America great again. And apparently not having health care is the America he's thinking about because, the whole point of what the Republicans want is to get us back to where everybody was getting screwed except wealthy people. And so, the plan is for each American, this is Donald Trump's plan. You can go to his Truth Social post from a couple weeks ago and enjoy reading it. But his plan basically is to give everyone $2,000 for health care. And that's supposed to cover you for the whole year.
That's about
there you go.
Maybe a month and a half at the present rate.
Yeah, that's his idea of giving power to the people. He actually used that phrase in his Truth Social post. And so if there's anyone that's been against power for the people, it's this autocratic government that we have that's growing. So, Mike Johnson did a little bit of whining about that, about how the Democrats broke health care in an interview and on one of the major networks. And her response basically is the plan is bunk. Okay, and so it eliminates protection from I don't know if you remember, but I remember being worried about changing my health care because if I had a pre-existing condition, my new healthcare company could say, sorry, we don't cover that. Well, the ACA, the American Affordable Care Act, also known as Obamacare, that got rid of that crap. It basically got rid of the practice of denying you a pre-existing condition if you switch healthcare companies.
That was probably one of the most major conditions that was eliminated. That was keeping people from getting any kind of insurance at all, and insurance companies were using that to just deny insurance anybody they didn't want to be on their plan. they would find if you sneezed too often, they would kind of call out
Oh yeah,
precondition.
And God forbid you get cancer,
Yeah.
and you end up costing them, hundreds of thousands, if not millions of dollars in healthcare costs, and then your employer decides to switch companies, and the new company says, "Oh, sorry, you have a pre-existing condition. You're going to die of cancer. We don't care."
Yeah.
And that was common back then. And the other thing it got rid of was insurance caps. And for you would be denied insurance if you had cost the insurance company a certain amount of money. And so, God forbid, you have a child that suddenly gets leukemia, and then all of a sudden the whole family's off insurance because you reached the cap. And these are the deep, dark days that they want to go back to. The choose to die versus choosing to pay. Yeah. That's just incredibly offensive to think that that's what these guys are championing.
And the Republican Party, regardless of the fact Trump's stupid, excuse my being blunt, but his stupid supposed plan, it is not a plan. And worse than anything is that the Republicans have no really legitimate plan to offer in case of the ACA.
No. Everyone gets $2,000.
That's Trump's stupid thing. But the Republicans have, as a group, have been blocking health care for everybody all the way back to the Clinton days, when Hillary was in charge of. He had put Hillary in charge to come up with a reasonable health care plan. The Republicans killed it and wouldn't allow her to have anything to do with it because she wasn't an elected official at that point in time. And ever since then, all they've done is block anything that came along that had a reasonable chance of being a reasonable health care plan. All they did was block it and say no. And up to the point where Trump comes up with $2,000 a year. So
yeah, and it's really important for you to share with your friends, neighbors, and family that we don't want to go back to the deep dark days of having to choose whether to live or die because you got sick. Yeah. And so some of the other things we need to remember is that the Affordable Care Act lumped all of us together. And the government negotiated with the insurance companies to lower our health care.
Right.
Okay? And so this is why it's attacked as socialized medicine. It's not. It's actually capitalistic because it's a market. That's the point. And if you have a group, the larger your group is in the insurance market, the more power you have to negotiate costs. And so, the ACA negotiated for us to get rid of caps in insurance, to make sure that you didn't have to choose to live or die because you couldn't afford it. Right. It got rid of pre-existing conditions practices. And so there are so many things that the ACA has given us that not just, and by the way, we're not talking about Republicans versus Democrats versus independents here. Everybody, especially poorer people on the lower end of the economic spectrum, benefited regardless of your political leanings. There was no political test to enjoy the ACA. Right. It was for all Americans. And so we really need to make sure that we fight tooth and nail to keep what we have, and as we go forward, to make it better. Because the ACA is not perfect. It's got problems that were created in the compromises that had to be made in order for President Obama and the Democrats of the time to get it passed.
Right. So make sure you do what you have to. Get on the phone, make sure your senators and House representatives understand that that's what you want, and that anything else that you can do to make sure that the people surround you support the fact that that's what this country needs right now. Can there be a better and a even more inclusive plan? Sure, but that's going to take a lot more time and a lot of work, and I don't know if there really is one, but at least somebody else should be coming up with and trying to do that at this point in time. There's nobody that's doing that. The Republicans are trying to just do away with the ACA so that more corporations can make money, whether it's insurance companies, drug companies, or whatever else. And that's who will benefit if they get rid of the ACA. It certainly won't be you and I.
No, it won't. And the fact that they've fought against this for years and years and years is proof positive that they really don't care about the average American who is not rich and who can't afford high insurance premiums. They're saying, we want your vote, but we don't want you to live.
Yep.
Okay? And it's insane that we as a developed nation are at the bottom of the barrel when it comes to providing universal care for citizens. Yeah. We are at the bottom of the barrel. We're the wealthiest country in the world, and we're at the bottom of the barrel when it comes to having affordable health care for all. And it's a huge stain on our reputation as an advanced, civilized nation.
It really is. As amongst other things in the world, we run behind the rest of the industrial world, large countries in this world of ours. We're way behind on a lot of them, and this is certainly one of the major ones that affects everybody. It even affects the people in the upper class, not the 1%, not the 10%, but it's the ones that really get hurt are the low ends. As Greg said, there's no doubt about that. But even
the middle class has been getting squeezed nearly out of existence for the last 20, 30 years.
Right. So it's the middle class is the lowest. The lower class is going to get hurt really bad. Middle class is going to get hurt, period. And so do what you have to do. Get on the phone. Make sure you're calling your senators or notifying them, leaving them messages. Write whatever you do. Talk to your neighbors and make sure that they understand the conditions that are going to happen. Again, even if it's not you, remember always one thing that keep forgetting, that there's families. It may not the middle generation may not be getting effect, but the middle generation has the younger generation that are their children. They have the older generation that is their parents. Okay. And those are great concerns. So don't just look at your own healthcare situation, which is critical. Don't misunderstand me. But don't be afraid. Look into your elders, your parents, your children's, their healthcare insurance and what it's going to do to them.
Yeah, so that's really important to remember.
Yeah.
That it isn't just about what I need. It's about what my extended family needs, my neighbors, and it's really important to think about that. And remember, anytime that anyone says anything against the ACA, then you just write back at them, say, what do the Republicans have? What's their plan?
Yeah.
Because they have no plan. And that's the thing to remember. That's the thing to pound to the representatives that you contact. Okay? So, as always, we wish you guys all the best this coming week.
Have a good one, and we'll be back next week, leading up into Christmas, but we'll hopefully get a couple in between now and Christmas, and we will certainly bring along something that's controversial next time. And I don't want to lead into it in case we change our mind.
Well, there's multiple topics a week now to choose from that are controversial.
Yeah.
So
we've said that from the beginning. We will have no problem coming up with a subject to talk for the next couple of years. There's plenty of them.
All right. We love all you guys as our fellow citizens, and have a good week. Best one possible.
All right.